Hello, my name is Zach Zuzula, and I'm here to describe a Minecraft assessment that I have created. The Minecraft assessment is going to help assess students in U.S. history. At the very beginning of the year, we have to review what the students would have learned in 5th grade. And since it was quite a few years away, it takes a while for the students to remember the things that they did. So colonization is always a tough thing for the students to remember because they know a little bit about the New England, Middle, and Southern colonies, but they don't remember everything that they have to in order to help describe how we were able to create these different regions and how we were able to expand westward. So they really need a strong base for colonization and why people moved there and why they decided to start to rebel against the king. So for this particular assessment, I'm going to have the students basically take some time to discuss and talk about what we remember about colonization. So in class, we'll be discussing colonization. We'll look through different ideas, and we'll kind of talk about the things that we remember. And then I'd put them in groups of 7 or possibly 8 students, depending on how many I have in the classroom. And I will basically give them one of these 3 different colonies. I have here the New England colonies, I have the Middle colonies, and I have the Southern colonies. The students' groups will be placed right at the beginning here, and they'll be put in survival mode. So that means that they have a small amount of time before darkness comes where they have to actually start to build and work and create as fast as they can. So anybody who's played Minecraft in survival mode knows that once it gets dark, a lot of animals and other things start to come out that attack you and can hurt your characters. So you have to be in some form of shelter. You have to have stuff created and built so you don't have to worry about that. So the students are going to have to work together and build quickly, which I think is one of the criteria that really helps my assessment, which is criteria 9, life skills, because you're taking a large group of students and having them work together on a project that none of them are incredibly familiar with exactly what they're doing. They're kind of being dropped in, and they really have to communicate and work together and figure out the best things to do in order to survive. Now, some students are going to have an easier time than others. Here in the Southern colonies, inside these crates, I gave tools for all the students. The Southern colonies start with the diamond weapons, and the diamond pickaxes and all that stuff, and they start with more food, more seeds, more things that they can grow because it was easier there. And here in the Middle colonies, they have gold, and in the New England colonies, they have iron because it was a lot more difficult in New England colonies. As well, the New England colonies have bedrock pretty much everywhere, which is going to make it difficult for them to farm and difficult for them to clear areas for their shelters. They're only going to have a small set of areas that they can put their shelter in, so they're going to have to discuss and work together with that. The way I'm going to assess their learning is after each day, after each class hour, pretty much the last 5 or 10 minutes, I want them to write a journal entry back to somebody in England. Maybe it's the king, maybe it's a family member, but they're going to discuss what they went through that day and the things that they thought they struggled at and why they think they struggled there, and they're going to keep writing back and talking about the things they had to experience. After a few days, I'll assess their learning by going through their journals and talking to them, but I'll come in as the Native Americans, where I'll come in and talk to them a little bit about what they need to do in order to improve to live in this area. I'll give them feedback based off their journals about the things that they struggle with, and I say, well, here's how you can fix this struggle, and here's some things you can do. And the students will start to put that together, and they'll continue writing the journals. At the very end of the assessment, I would want them to write a full example or blueprint to what the next group of students would have to do to survive in this area. And I would want them to discuss which area they think they're in, the New England, Middle, or Southern colonies, what people had to do in those regions in order to survive, and kind of work together in that regard. The advantages to doing this in Minecraft are basically that they can work together, they can figure out what they need to do, and they can really build and create whatever they want to. And as they're a good group that's working really well together, then they can kind of continue to build and create things at a much faster rate than somebody else. And at the same time, because it's in survival mode, they really have to do it in order to survive and keep things going. They have to be able to grow food, and it's going to give them that real experience of the colonies. The 2 criteria that I talked about, one was already life skills. That was definitely something I think this helps. Another criteria that would be really good, this gives the students multiple reviews of their work. With each journal post, with each day that they're searching for things, they're going to be able to assess themselves and go back and figure out what they need to do better the next day and what they need to do in order to make these things work faster. And at the end, they're going to be able to discuss all the things that they learned about each particular region. Now, the thing I think this fails in is feedback. I'm not able to give them as much feedback because I need them to fail, and I want them to have to kind of self-assess and go through that whole process. So as a teacher, I can't give them as much feedback until that final part comes. So that's my Minecraft assessment. Hope you enjoy it. Thank you.